Welcome to I'll Go If You Go, a Save the Redwoods League podcast. We're building community and illuminating how Californians from all walks of life think about and experience nature and conservation in the Redwoods and beyond. I'll go if you go, because when we explore together in community, the experience is all the more powerful. Join us as we talk with Carla Amador, co-founder of the 52 Hike Challenge, a challenge that supports well-being, exploring new places, building community, and strengthening ourselves through nature. Bienvenida, Carla. Thank you for joining us to I'll Go If You Go. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Leslie.
Just to give our listeners a little bit of a background, Carla grew up in Los Angeles, and her connection to nature stemmed from visits to Griffith Park and with her mom and sisters. As an immigrant family from El Salvador, trying to meet their basic needs came first and foremost, and outdoor trips were not readily common in her upbringing. However, now nature is the core of her well-being, and we'll soon find out how. But first, Carla, please share with us your favorite memory in a redwood or sequoia forest.
I mean, there are so many, but I'll stick to the John Muir Trail, which I did in August of 2019. And there were some incredible sections in the sequoias where you would just walk under these beautiful trees all along the trail. I remember there's this scent that the bark gives off, and that scent is something I can never forget. And it felt like you're walking through this magical forest. I truly love being around these majestic trees, and I feel like they're so wise.
You know, as you were describing the smell, I was actually taking a deep breath while you were doing that.
Absolutely. It's so good to breathe.
Yes. Now, the question that we all want to know, what is the 52 Hike Challenge and how did it come to be?
So the 52 Hike Challenge actually came from a place of pain and a time where I was feeling very low in my life. I was going through a divorce in 2013, and I actually ended up meeting my co-founder and now fiance, and he took me on a hike. And I remember that for the first time in a long time, I felt hope again. And I wanted that feeling again. I wanted to feel good after being in such a slump for about a year and a half. And so jokingly in 2014, I said to him, I'd really like to go on a hike a week to, just stay fit. And little did I know how healing and powerful going on a hike once a week was going to be for me. So we started doing this 52 Hike Challenge that he called at the time. And, we would go to so many different places, and, it was something to look forward to every week. And I was learning a lot about, being outdoors and what gear to bring and things like that. But the most powerful thing that happened was that on each hike, I started to have this time to spend within myself and to really nurture parts of me that I had forgotten about. The trails taught me, to love myself, to be gentle with myself. The trails taught me to keep one foot in front of the other. The trails taught me that my problems weren't the biggest thing that could happen, the most, I would almost call it like traumatic thing, because, there was a greater plan. And my problems were really small in comparison to whatever else is out there, in possibility wise. Being in nature, it's just so grand, right? It makes you feel small. And so it really put a lot of things into perspective for me. And, when I was done, I had found that I found myself in a place of feeling confidence again and self-love and, allowed myself to really heal. And my partner had previously lost 80 pounds through hiking before I met him. And, I felt like it was such a powerful story. So at the end of the year, I think it was in August of 2014, or it was actually October 2014, I wanted to do Mount Whitney as a way to prove to myself that, I was enough, and so I did the trail. And I remember having a moment towards the top of the summit where I call it like a walk with source, energy, God, the universe, whatever people want to call it. And I just felt that all the pain, all of the suffering was removed from me. And that was so powerful and overwhelming that I knew I had to share this story with people. And I knew I had to get more people out into nature. And so that's really how 52 Hikes got started. It was sharing the stories of how my partner and I had healed and how it could do the same for others.
Absolutely. Wow. There's so many things that I have running through my mind about what you just said, especially the trails taught me part, because there's a lot of differences in outdoor culture and landscapes and even demographics between Northern and Southern California. And in this 52 Hike Challenge, there's a lot of places that you can explore around California. And as a member of this community and being from Los Angeles, what insights or recommendations would you suggest that would encourage redwood visitation with Southern California communities as a way of healing?
Yeah, there is a really special little park in Brea, California called Carbon Canyon. I believe it's Regional Park. And it actually has a redwood grove. And right before I left California, I actually went for a hike there. And I just remember the highlight was getting to that redwood grove and just breathing in the morning dew off the trees. Again, there is a special scent given off of the redwoods, and just being inside under this beautiful mist in the morning, and there was this dew, and it just felt so refreshing, and it was beautiful. They've done a really great job of creating this really pretty pathway there. So I would highly recommend people in Southern California take a little trip out there and check it out. And also, I do want to recommend that, especially large families, that, instead of taking their kids out to Disneyland, maybe take the time to really plan out an overnight trip somewhere up in the, Sequoias. There's so many other places that they can find on your website. And, all you need is some gas and pack some food and overnight camping items. And it should be an adventure that your children will never forget. So not only your children, but yourself.
Want to do your own Redwoods challenge to enhance your well-being? Explore Redwoods is your portal into California's magical coast, redwood and giant sequoia forest. Visit exploreredwoods.org to learn what's available in more than 100 redwood parks and plan an unforgettable adventure. From hiking and biking trails to camping to swimming holes, this web-based app will get you there. Visit exploreredwoods.org. With COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen more young people reporting stress, anxiety, and depression. What advice would you recommend a young person who's considering to join the 52 Hike Challenge and seeking nature to overcome their personal struggle?
There's so much, if I bring myself back to my youth and what I wish I would have done for myself, I think working on loving the self is one of the first things that I would encourage young adults to do. Being gentle with themselves, being a kind and loving parent to yourself, and encouraging their own self-compassion and self-love, and just that ability to feel like it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay not to have everything, because we're here on a journey to learn and to find ourselves. But I think sometimes, we forget that, our parents are wounded. And so it's our job really to sometimes to do that work. So after that, I would say definitely making a friend or two that you can bring out on a hike with you, having a trail buddy so you can motivate each other to get outside. And, lastly, I would say that realizing what's important out there, like what really matters, it is so important in, I think, finding joy, doing the things that you love that are important to you, not for others, but really for yourself. We all have gifts and things we love. And I think sometimes, as much as social media is good, I think that it can kind of wrap us up in, trying to keep up with everyone else. But there's so many things that we can spend our time reading, educating ourselves, learning, growing. Maybe if you love the guitar, go take a lesson. And, spending time with yourself is just so integral. And imagine if every single human being spent all of their free time on social media instead of outdoors in nature within themselves. We would have no more art, because everyone would just be so consumed in everything else other than creating their craft and sharing their gifts with the world. So I think definitely spending time with oneself out in nature is such a great way to bring in creativity and to really connect you with your true essence of who you are and what you're meant to do and what really matters.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Finding yourself. Basically, it's finding yourself, your inner strength, your well-being.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite activities that one could do in this journey while you're in the redwoods to help uplift ourselves, our minds, our spirits? What would you recommend?
Wow, this is such a wonderful question, and I love it because there's actually a practice out there called Shinrin Yoku, and it's basically taking in the trees. There is actually healing properties that the trees give off. When you're out amongst the trees, I would recommend that you find a spot, you lay out a blanket, or maybe you sit on a rock, and you just take a moment to be in silence for 5 minutes and just breathe and be silent. Meditation by those trees can be so perfect for one's own emotional well-being. That time, that quiet time, is what really connects us to our essence, who we are. And then besides that, you could bring a book out and journal. We're huge advocates of journaling outside, because great inspiration and answers could come from just being still. So those are two great things that I would recommend.
All those activities sound wonderful, and this would be a great time to also ask you if you could share a story of a 52 Hike Challenge community member that really stands out in your mind as a testimony to nature's ability to influence our well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. There's one story that I absolutely love, and it's a story of a woman who had been hiking in Yosemite, and she was going up, I believe, Vernal Falls, and she saw a lot of people who had just been coming off the John Muir Trail and had their big backpacks on, and she thought to herself, I want to do that someday. Well, the thing about her is that she actually had a form of cancer that gave her a death sentence. And she actually found the 52 Hike Challenge, and she decided to sign up because she wanted to achieve this goal of, hiking Mount Whitney. And, I remember following her journey because I thought it was so powerful that she was doing this for herself. And I remember the day that she went on this hike and actually this trip, and I was like rooting for her, like, did she make it? Did she make it? And she made it. And she actually said that taking the challenge got her in shape. But she basically heard, or not heard, but she herself had this moment where she was like, I'm going to live, I'm going to live. And she actually beat this death sentence, so to speak. And she, has lived more than the years they gave her now at this point. And she started even her own community for people. And yeah, her story is one that I just look at as a source of inspiration, how, at any moment, no matter what we're told, we can live, and living through nature is such a powerful way of living. So I definitely love that story of, her name's Leslie. So she's really inspiring.
So we're moving into our lightning round question, which will give us a little insight and just a little fun and humor insight into who you are, Carla. All of these insights of your personal story have been incredible for us to share. And we're going to switch it up a little, which adding this lightning round. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. When are you most inspired? Early morning or late night?
Early morning.
I believe so. This recording is early morning. What makes you laugh no matter what?
Oh, that one's a hard one. Just being silly, just own it. Own it.
Favorite solo artist?
Right now, currently, I would say Simrit.
Okay. I'm afraid I do not know who that is, but I will have to look at the solo artist. Okay. I'll look it up. Would you rather be missing a finger or have an extra toe?
Extra toe.
An extra toe, better grips. All right. What's one thing about you that surprises people?
I sing.
Yeah. I didn't know that either. You just surprised me. Dogs, cats, or llamas? Llamas.
Dogs.
Dogs. Where is your happy place?
Nature and meditation.
Meditation and in nature too.
Yes.
Awesome. If you could go on a road trip with any person, dead or alive, who would you choose?
Oprah.
Oprah, yeah, she's great. And where would you and Oprah go?
Well, now that we've been talking about the redwoods, I couldn't imagine a better trip than somewhere up in, like a beautiful park up in San Fran.
Okay, yes. Let me know when you're coming. I'd love to join y'all. Would you rather be 2 feet tall or 8 feet tall?
Ooh, 2 feet tall.
2 feet tall. Oh, I'm left with so many more follow-up questions from that. But take us home with explaining to our listeners why they should experience the redwoods.
Again, if I didn't say it enough times, how healing they can be, how important it is to forest bathe for the mind, body, soul, and spirit. And just the peace, the inner peace that you get when you're out there. So turn off your phones and be with the trees and take it all in.
Oh, yes, I agree. Thank you, Carla. Carla, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart how amazing it's been and grateful I am to have met you through this podcast, and grateful that you're sharing this story with all of us, but also how your story and the 52 Hike Challenge has inspired many in these transformative experiences that they have with nature, which is the healing power itself. And it's our own journey to do. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you. I'm just so thankful to be here with a fellow Latina, and it just makes me so proud that we are, sharing our love for nature and the diversity that we can have out there. So thank you.
Oh, muchas gracias. El gusto es mío.
De nada.
Thank you all for listening to I'll Go If You Go, a Save the Redwoods League podcast. I'm your host, Leslie Parra, encourage you to visit the Redwoods for your well-being challenge. Stay connected by following us on Instagram and Twitter at Save the Redwoods and on Facebook at facebook.com/SaveTheRedwoodsLeaf.